having more mid-Atlantic ridge strong earthquakes, magnitude 5.2 just off West Africa, and a 4.3 right at the top of the Earth at the North Pole. These are just today's quakes. Now we know that the mid-Atlantic ridge runs right through Iceland. This is one of the tourist attractions of Iceland. You can see the Earth has cracked right there. Iceland has many volcanoes. One is the Marianas volcano that's pretty active lately, and this is an underwater screenshot of the crack in the Earth, as you can see here. They do have tourist attractions of swimming underwater. You can see the actual geology underwater of what's taking place there. It's rifting. There's magma underneath, and it's rifting apart. It's spreading. The ocean floor there is spreading. This red area that we see here in the Atlantic, from the north all the way to the south to the area of Antarctica, there it is again. That is the red area that we saw before is the young lava underneath, which is spreading underneath there. It's rifting and it's spreading. And again, this is the map of Iceland. This is the rising mantle material. There's magma coming up and spreading the seafloor in that area. And the Earth, as we know, is growing. The Earth is growing at the rate of a human fingernail every single year. Some areas are moving faster than others. For example, the Pacific Ring of Fire around the Japan area is moving very quickly. And we have over 75% of the world's volcanoes and 90% of the world's earthquakes on the Ring of Fire. Of course, this is not the Ring of Fire. We're talking about today is the mid-Atlantic ridge. Here we are at Sizemore Berkeley, and this blue is the last day. Red would be the past hour, and the yellow is the past week. So this is today 5.2. We had a 6 magnitude just 2 days ago in the same area, basically. And as you can see, they're pretty big. Mid-sized earthquakes. They're all pretty shallow, 10-kilometer depth. Either it is 10-kilometer depth, or they just say 10 kilometers because they don't really know how deep it is. This is Antarctica right here. That's where the mid-Atlantic ridge stops right here. Then you go into the South Indian ridge, the Scotia Sea and the Drake Passage. Okay, this is the mid-Atlantic. As we can see, we've had, these are the past quakes that we've had. This is a number of them here. Again, 10 kilometers depth, so 4.6, 4.7. This is a number of them, 4.4. And it goes through this way into Iceland. And another one here, you can see this is how it goes zigzagging. This was just off Scandinavia as well a few days ago. And this is our other one that we had today all the way to the top. Right here, 4.3, the Svalbard of Svalbard. Okay, Svalbard is somewhere around here. Queen Victoria Sea, Arctic Ocean. And going to our 5.2 magnitude earthquake off the area of West Africa. We're talking about this one here, okay, and going into the area, tectonic summary, not there, okay. This is it, this is what it looks like. This is our magma, and we can see here from this map the age of the millions of years before the present. As you can see, the Earth is growing. So if we go down to 180 years ago, blue, you can see this was these 180 million years ago. Basically, you have Western Africa, Western Portugal, the area of Portugal and Spain, Western Africa, Algiers, Morocco, Algiers, and the eastern seaboard were, I would say, connected. Can you imagine, only 180 million years ago, how much smaller the Earth was? Okay, this is, of course, other areas here. This is the San Andreas Fault running through here. And the area of, where's Hawaii? Hawaii is over here. Hawaii is over here. That's it. That mantle plume right there. Of course, it doesn't show the magma underneath the areas of the continents. This is just the oceanic ridges. So this is what we're talking about here. All the way from the north. This Svalbard one is just the one up the 4.3 that we had before. The 4.3, where are we? All the way up here. This one today, all the way above the islands, should be about, where are we? Sorry, about up here. Above the islands. All the way somewhere up here. Okay? So that's from the, basically the activity is all along. This past week we've seen activity all along the mid-Atlantic ridge. It's growing. And here we have a nice animation of it. Here we are at mid-ocean ridge on Wikipedia, talking about the ocean ridges here along the Earth, the mid-Atlantic and various others, the morphology, the spreading of the seafloor. The mid-ocean ridge depth of the seafloor is approximately 2,600 meters on the flanks, and let's go to the animation. This is what it would look like. Magma rising from a chamber below, forming new oceanic lithosphere that spreads away from the ridge. And again, this is the rift zone. This is beautiful. Look at the way that has rifted and split. This is again in Iceland. The island is a sub-aerial part of the mid-Atlantic ridge. Here is our map that we saw before. The red is the newest, most recent, and the blue is the oldest. And here we go again. That's what it would look like. Oceanic crust forming at the ocean ridge, right here, while the lithosphere is subducting back into the ascenosphere at the trenches. And going to the, where are we? The mid-Atlantic. Where were we? The mid-Atlantic. I missed it. Sorry. Okay, there we are. The mid-Atlantic ridge. Okay, the plate boundary located along the floor of the Atlantic Ocean from north all the way down here. Part of the longest mountain range in the world. Mountains. Longest mountain range in the world. In the North Atlantic, it separates Eurasian and North American plates. Eurasian and North American plates. And the South Atlantic separates Africa from South American plates. The ridge extends from the junction at the Gakel Ridge, north of Greenland, towards the Bouvet Triple Junction in the South Atlantic. The section of the ridge that includes Iceland is known as the Reykjanes Ridge. The ridge has an average spreading rate of a whopping 2.5 centimeters, or that's 1 inch every year. The discovery, first inferred by Matthew Fontaine Maury in 1850, there's the beautiful Pangea separation animation that we saw. I mean, that must have been going pretty fast in 180 million years. Now, the existence of the ridge was discovered during his expedition of HMS Challenger in 1872. A team of scientists on board, led by Charles Wyville Thomson, discovered a large rise in the middle of the Atlantic while investigating the future location of the transatlantic telegraph cable. The existence of such a ridge was confirmed by sonar in 1925, found to extend around Cape Agulhas into the Indian Ocean. That's Indian Ocean, Atlantic Ocean, it says there, the signs there. And by German meteor expedition. In the 1950s, mapping of the Earth's ocean floors by Bruce Hezin, Maurice Ewing, Mary Tharp, and others revealed that the mid-Atlantic ridge had a strange bathymetry. That's the depth of the ocean, study underwater depth of ocean floors or lake floors. In other words, bathymetry is the underwater equivalent to ipsometry, meaning ipsos meaning height, or topography. The name comes from Greek vathos, meaning depth, and metron, measure. Bathymetric charts are typically produced to support, to see how deep areas are. So obviously that's the area bathymetry. Where are we again? You'll see the ridges there in the Atlantic, which are yellowish. It means that that's more closer to the surface, whereas the blue is deeper depths. So, with the Central Valley being seismologically active and the epicenter of many earthquakes, Ewing, Heeson, and Tharp discovered the ridge is part of the 40,000 kilometer long, essentially continuous system of mid-ocean ridges on the floors of all Earth's oceans. Discovery of this worldwide ridge system led to the theory of seafloor spreading, as we said before, and general acceptance of Wegener's theory of continental drift and expansion in the modified form of plate tectonics. The ridge is central to the breakup of the hypothetical supercontinent of Pangaea that began some 180 million years ago. That's what it looked like. Okay? It began at some 180 million years ago, and look how fast it's going. Some areas, as we said, are going faster than others. Iceland is splitting at 1 inch a year. So that's pretty fast. Here, Reykjanes Ridge has average spreading of about 2.5 centimeters. That's an inch a year. Amazing. So this is where we're having these weird earthquakes from the top to the bottom. It's not just, as we said, there's magma under there too. Oh, this is, Pahala. Those are always deep earthquakes. These usually here are deep as well. 120, and that's close, but 120 kilometers, that's below the crust. The crust is up to 100 kilometers deep. So that's what's happening there. Thank you for your support. Please leave your comments. Thank you. If you'd like to join me on my Patreon account, you will hear content not covered by mainstream media. These riveting stories will be based on my research, and I will state my opinions and give my personal insight on diverse and controversial subjects and world events not covered by mainstream media, and not supported by YouTube guidelines. So whatever I have on my Patreon, most of those will not be on my YouTube channel. Please consider becoming a member today. More of the most significant and important videos will be on my Patreon channel. Your support helps me to continue my research and keeps this YouTube channel alive. And we depend on your support, your generous charity, because we help economically challenged families here in Athens, Greece, in Kapota, and we also help the young generation with university tuition and the community around our church. Thank you.